Kara.
Cool.
I'm excited for this podcast today.
Me too.
I know we've talked a lot online and just kind of all the things. Kind of one of the things I know we just talked about asking questions, but right out the gate, one of the things I'm curious about as, it's January 4th as we record this.
Yeah.
People are excited. They're getting ready to go into the new year with their fitness goals and plans. What is the one thing that you see a lot of people could really just taking into this new year that will help them find that success that they're looking for? And maybe even if that's, changing kind of the way that they frame it, or kind of what's your thoughts on that?
That's a really good question. I love the momentum of the new year. I think it is nothing wrong with having this fresh feeling, having a fresh start into maybe attaining some goals that people have. And a lot of times at the start of the new year, fitness is at the top of their list of things to do. And I really think the number one thing is just really going in and what a goal that you have is, making it as personal as you can. So I think that's going to be kind of the catalyst of how we organize the year and actually get more fit or more flexible or whatever it is. But it's having a goal is definitely number one. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Kind of one of the things I'm also a little bit more interested in, but also, it's just having seen what you post about on social media and kind of seeing that dedication to the lifestyle aspect of things. That's something that I love to talk with people about, kind of how social media can be a net benefit and, how it can be something that helps you stick with those goals.
Yeah.
What is something that you've been able to find? I feel like you curate a very great community online, kind of focusing on that positivity, and it's something I've had kind of in my mind for a while, but it's the idea that as a trainer and someone that helps and works with people, half of your goal is to be there to one, help keep them accountable, but also be their number one hype man. And
Totally.
That's something that I see that you do a lot of online that's really incredible.
Thank you. So what was your question with that?
Sorry. What is one of the things that you found with being able to kind of help curate and build a community online through that? Because I think a lot of people see social media as a net negative, because there's a lot of you have to do things this way, and
Oh yeah, social media it definitely is the highlight reel for a lot of people, and I don't want people to get it twisted. It also is that for me. I do try to show up as authentic as I can online, and curating a group of people almost that I do online, it's just trying to show the realness of everyone, that we're real people working out, we have jobs and families and pets and a lot of things going on. And I think that when you can show that there are so many things that are happening in real life, but we're still making time for ourselves, making time to try to make ourselves 1% better each and every time is so important to show. So, and it's nice that you say that, because social media is a part of our jobs. It's part of my job. It kind of is. When you sign up to be a trainer, you have to have an online presence. You don't have to, but it definitely helps. And it's a one-woman show over here. I am the marketing department. I am the HR. I am the accountant of all things. And I really want to make people feel welcome. And I try my best to show that on social media, that it's not just the highlight of, look at me, I'm exercising, but really it's more about everyone else. And I really believe everyone can find a fitness routine. It might look quite different than mine, but if I can show up online and be something that's consistent, because I really do try to live this life, I live what I'm talking about, and everyone has the capacity to do it in some way or form.
That's awesome. Something that I came into this kind of with a lot of curiosities, and so it's great to be able to talk through it. But one of the things that's fascinating for me, I see this all the time with social media clients. A lot of people are looking to go for that mega viral video or ad or something that'll kind of, explode them into success.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of similarities in the fitness world. Everyone's looking for that secret tip, that trick that will get them to that goal they're trying to go for. And the reality is, similar with social media, the consistency of just showing up every single day is going to be the thing that will get you there.
Yeah.
Now, something I'm curious with is how, with all the people that work out with you and have worked with you over the years, one of the things that I've just noticed and observed over time is there's a lot of consistency.
Yeah.
It's the same people showing up every single day. They're here doing their workouts. what do you feel like is the common thread amongst those people that tend to be drawn to you for that sort of thing?
I am unbelievably lucky in the trust that I get from my members. I am grateful every single day, and I genuinely adore them. They motivate me. And I feel like the reason why people I work with are so consistent is because of the guidance. And if I can convince anyone to stay consistent with anything, it's almost like when I organize workouts and program our workouts, it's not just a one and done, see you later. Everything has structure. There's a really big purpose behind it. I come from a gymnastics background. I was a competitive gymnastics coach for 9 years, and everything had structure. So I always joke around, it's really my training in person and online is just like me coaching a bunch of now adults in a way that I think like purpose is like the best word to describe it. It's not just an exercise you're doing to like look a certain way, feel a certain way, check off of the list of things to do, but it's really who you are. You can instill a lot of your integrity into working out. And sometimes I notice that when people give themselves, or when they really gain trust to do something, stick with it, it translates into so many other areas of their life. So a lot of people always tell me that this is one of the highlights of their day if they come in, or it's a highlight of their day when they go to the gym and follow a workout. And it's so cool that that one small step can really change so many things in their lives.
I love it. You kind of just hit on something that I've seen as like a common theme and pattern with a lot of people with this, but it's like finding what that specific purpose is that like gives them that, like people are always looking for motivation. Like, how do I stay in the gym? How do I do this? But the reality is like that purpose and that goal has to be something like not even remotely related to showing up in the gym.
Yeah, it has to be. Motivation comes and goes. Yeah. And same for me. I'm not motivated a lot of the times, but it becomes something that you are. And if that one thing that you commit to and you actually do, it just gives you a lot of confidence in other areas. Motivations, it's tricky. It's hard to rely on motivation alone. And then it comes back to, okay, what's your goal? If you have a goal, you don't need motivation anymore. You'll take that and then just really go in with that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. It's always kind of one of those things. I have a number of friends that we talk about this all the time. And one of my friends, Jessie, she's always hitting me with like, you are wildly intrinsically motivated compared to like most people. Whenever we like have this conversation, I'm like, no, it's simple. You show up at the gym, you do this every day, and then like you get the results you're looking for. She's like, okay, how do you convey that to other people? Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things that I feel like is kind of interesting with this new generation of like online trainers, and everyone's constantly trying to kind of like figure out how to reverse engineer the psychology of, you know, how do we get people motivated? Yeah. And I think you kind of hit on like a perfect point where it's like, you got to find something outside of showing up at the gym. You need to think about it as like, you know, this is a part of your life and you're doing this to enable yourself to be able to do those other things that you're looking for. Yeah,
that's a big part. One of my clients told me that I was hard soft one time, and I laughed so hard. I feel like that kind of fits my coaching style. Yeah. Nothing has set me up for success like coaching gymnastics. Teenagers, oh my God. And I loved it every step of the way. But I feel like being a true coach in that way, not just a trainer, not just someone guiding a group, but actually coaching and dealing with emotions is, you know, I don't want someone that joins a session or joins an online training program to just waste their money. Yeah. Your time is so valuable. Your money is valuable. So if you're going to do something, really do it. And that's what I try to coach. So I try to find the line between pushing someone, challenging them, but understanding that that's different every single day. And the showing up part is what matters more than anything.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. What was one of the biggest challenges when you were teaching gymnastics?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question. It was unbelievably hard. I'm YouTube taught gymnastics coach.
It's okay. I'm YouTube taught how to do all production.
And so I was really young when I started. I got really lucky. It's like my family of Columbus, the Crump family, they believed in me, and I found the job on Craigslist. And a year later, I started a competitive team, and we were terrible. And the hardest thing the hardest part about running a gymnastics team was I was in charge, and I was the one running everything.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot of responsibility in that aspect. Couldn't call off too much. Everything had to be very organized. I've had the hardest life lessons coaching gymnastics. I've learned how to deal with kids, how to deal with parents, what you can say to kids, what you cannot, what you can say to parents, what you cannot. And I have made every single mistake in the world. And I've grown a lot from that, but I was like thrown into demand and thrown into just really high, I wouldn't say it's like high risk, but it was just a lot of attention and a lot of responsibility for someone who was so young. And that was unbelievably hard. And not to mention that your entire job is based off of children's performance.
Yeah.
So that was actually, probably that was the hardest. You know what? Now that I think about it, really learning the softness and the hardness of coaching during that, because I've had mistakes where I was too hard and too mean is not the right word, but maybe too disciplined, too strict. And then at the same time, if you go the other way, then your gymnasts aren't learning. So I had to find that. That was very, very hard to do in the early, honestly, till today.
Yeah. I think about that a lot as like an application, even like working with adults today. Like when I was a kid, I was on like track and cross country, and it's like at a certain point, it's like kids, I think the benefit to working with like kids and teenagers is they're going to be like very emotionally just open. So it's like if they're not happy with something, they are not going to mince words. They're going to tell you exactly how they feel.
Yep.
And I feel like that if you get really good at working with people who are like that, it makes it a lot easier to kind of be able to pick up on the subtle cues when you're starting to work with people down the road who maybe they're not necessarily going to tell you, oh man, I was struggling with this workout. But you can like kind of pick up on it and go, oh, you know what? I'm not going to, ride this person for not, getting through a workout today, because I can like feel it in their soul that like they're, going through something. And so, you know what, we're going to, make a couple adjustments, and that's going to be the thing that'll help them stay consistent rather than crushing a workout today and then being injured for the next however many weeks.
Exactly. And coaching gymnastics makes you see the big picture. When you have a group of gymnasts, you have to have eyes on all of them at all times.
Yeah.
The younger ones first, and then also older ones for safety reasons. What are they doing? Making sure they're staying organized. Not to mention that parents are normally watching your gymnastics class. And so that if you're not paying attention, if you're not paying attention to their daughter or their son, so that's something that I always had to keep in the back of my head. I'm trying to coach a good class, but I'm trying to watch all of it and see the bigger picture of what's the purpose of doing this class. And it's the exact same way that I teach in person. Online is a little different because it's video and things like that, but I can feel someone's energy when they come in. I want to make sure I can watch you squatting, but you're over here. What is your body language telling me? Are you confused? Are you staying with the group? And I think that has set me up for success to make sure everyone feels included. And I think when everyone feels included, there is a reason for them to be here. I see you here. It helps with that consistency point, kind of like what we were talking about.
Yeah. It's like one of those things I think about it whenever I did like yoga classes a long time ago. It's like, some people want to be able to kind of set their mat up at the back of the class and just go do their thing and like keep it chill. But there's everyone deep down inside, you always love it when someone gives you that like a little bit of a compliment or like, oh, you're crushing it. Like,
yes,
that is like the thing that can like be the thing that gives someone like the most positive day. They're probably going to get a raise at work. They're,
it's so
everything
cool.
is great.
And it feels good to give that too.
100%.
It's almost like I get in the zone. And when I'm in the zone, time does not exist. And you're just so committed and it's fun and it's so fulfilling. That's a really good point you made with we all want that little nudge of being like, I see you, you're here.
Exactly. Yeah. That's like, I don't know. I was kind of thinking about this the other day as like this chronic optimism when it comes to being able to like give people that kind of support and like hype them up on things. Cause I think like, especially just given, not to bring like full circle back on social media, but it's like, there's so much like so much negativity, so much like dogmatic like instruction
It is
about things.
unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
And it's hard, like being people that are online.
Yeah.
I would lie to you if I'm like, I'm not trying to make it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it.
Everyone
I'm here.
is.
I'm showing up.
That's
I'm
the whole
trying to
point.
make it.
As we talk about later in the episode, using your voice on social media is one of the most important things you can do, especially in this AI-filled slop nonsense that's going on social media right now. Your voice is the thing that will distinguish you from the rest of your competition. And if you need help making sure that you sound your best on social media, reach out to me. My website is BrandonGoodyear.com. I would love to be able to help you use your voice online a little bit better and be clearly heard by your audience. Well, let's get back into the episode.
And you have those days where you're like, I feel good. That was great. I feel really aligned with what I'm posting. And then you'll compare yourself to others. It's so easy to do. I do.
Easy.
My algorithm is all beautiful fitness women. And I'm like, do I need to do this? Do I need to do something? And it doesn't feel aligned to me. But it's so hard because if you were just to be in this one camp and not be open, maybe that could be your thing. But
it's kind of wild to me. I think about this a lot, especially in like the media space and whatnot. The type of people that get attracted to jobs like this tend to be people who are like very motivated, very hardworking, very much like, I'm gonna, oh, you tell me that if I do 5 workouts a week, I'm gonna get in this shape in this amount of time. Well, what if I do 6 workouts a week? Then like, I'm gonna make that time in, half as much or whatever. But the reality is like a lot of it is just the consistency of showing up every single day and like doing it when you don't feel like it and like posting that thing that maybe you feel like you're a little bit too ugly in, but like that's going to be the one that maybe connects with someone who's, considering starting their fitness journey and they were going through that. And you're like, I had this moment. This is my vulnerability here. I don't know exactly where I was going with that point, but it just, that for me, that it's one of those things that I'm like constantly thinking about in terms of like how to be able to kind of help motivate people to just get started, whether that's showing up at the gym, showing up online, just putting themselves out there. I think like one of the biggest things that my algorithm is kind of more on like the social media side of things. They're like, man, nobody successful ever got successful and then went, man, I'm so glad I didn't post that really cringy video. Because I think like at the end of the day, like you're going to do a lot of stuff that's extremely cringe. But like, I mean, I do it all the time. I intentionally go back and look at old videos I've done just to remind myself of like that journey and how far it's come to get to this place, to be able to like sit down and have conversations with people and feel a lot more comfortable with it than I did when I like very first got started doing this whole thing. So.
And it's almost that wisdom and maturity too, to realize we all feel the same way.
Yes.
We have been doing this for a long time. I started posting fitness content 2016. It's very embarrassing if anyone scrolls back and sees it. But sometimes maybe someone goes to my page and they're like, oh, wow, like this is, I like my content.
It's incredible.
You got to be your own cheerleader at the end of the day. I like it, but I've put in so many reps and it's been unbelievably cringe in the beginning, and it applies to everything. It's how much are you willing to be bad to be good?
Exactly. I think about it, and one of the things, and I know we've like talked about this before, but one of the things that really kind of is fascinating to me is, especially in like a visual first world, one of the things that I see you doing that's very unique compared to most people is quite literally just talking in videos. Which is like, I mean, that's like my entire ethos online is like, people need to use their voice because that is the one fingerprint in this, visual AI world that can still truly be yours. And I'm curious, what are like some of the, compared to like other fitness stuff, like what are some of the results you've seen with that? And simply like, I think one of the things there's going to be a lot of compliments because I just feel like you're doing a lot of things right compared to most people. But it's like, I see, you have a lot of videos that are like, here's a quick tip on how to do better kettlebell swings. Like you put out a lot of that like bite-sized educational content that hits. Do you see like a big like return from that? Or is that just like something that...
I feel like I have to talk in my videos because anyone can show you what to do. And I want to explain the how. I am good at the how. And that's hard to portray online in a world where everything is beautiful and the sounds match up and there's these click noises and there's a lot of things that get a lot of views and attention. And so I have decided that I'm ready to share the how.
Yeah.
I have not invented any of the exercises I do, but I just like to explain them. And if I can motivate anyone or explain someone how to do a better squat, a better bench press, a better kettlebell swing, my day has won. As far as return on them, I've seen a little bit more engagement. People feel a little bit more connected to me. Actually, when I see people out and about, it's like they see me more or know more of what I'm doing. And that is actually really cool. Before, and then I'll do like the little bit-sized pieces of content and things like that. And that's just from experience of like me watching other videos.
Yeah.
I'll be like, how long is my attention span for things?
Exactly.
Trust me, I would love everyone to spend 5 or 10 minutes going over form. Let me teach you how to do a really good deadlift. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I know that it's quick. It is something that someone is just scrolling through. So if I can do anything to spend those 3 extra seconds and learn how to, hey, grip the bar this way when you're setting up, that is a win.
That's amazing. I think about it as like casual education. Like if you can like slip that into someone's social media feed, like that's so perfect.
And something really cool, a trainer here mentioned that for me, and maybe probably for you too, I get a lot of fitness content on my algorithm. Maybe for someone else, they don't. And the only connection that they have to any fitness posting is me because they either train with me or they have a friend that trains with me and they followed me. Yeah. So even if it's that little bit on their feed of something motivating, you're guaranteed to see me post new day, new opportunities on my story every single day. And if they could see that, that could be like, oh, I'll spend a little extra time. And then they might start to get a little bit more fitness content on their page. And that's going to be beneficial for everyone.
Exactly. Something I like have asked a couple other people. So after this incredible part of the conversation, would you feel social media is a net positive or net negative?
Net positive, for sure. Oh yeah. I love social media. I wouldn't be on it unless I wouldn't be on it this much unless I liked it. It allows me to be creative. I know it is very privileged to say this, but my content is very curated and it is more on the positive leaning side, which I do enjoy. So social media gives me a chance to be expressive. It allows me to market more. It allows me to reach a broader audience. So for me, it's a positive thing. And I don't think I would be as successful as I am without it because it's a tool and I treat it as a tool.
Yeah. I 100% agree on that. That's one of the things there's a lot of people that I see that have a very negative view towards social media. And it's one of the things that I've always kind of come back to. And I even think about it from the like creative standpoint. Like every single person I know that teaches creativity, the one thing that they always come back to is like, you got to continually put in those reps. And a lot of people I talk to, even, very recently, they get overwhelmed with like, oh, I have to post on social media all the time and I have to do all these things. I'm like, or you can think of it as like, I have an opportunity to post 5 times a day. I have an opportunity to create all these new things. Yeah. And, the more that I find myself like leaning into those creative moments, the more creative I ultimately find myself being, which I think is like a massive benefit.
It's a massive benefit. I think it's fun to surround yourself around people who also want that. It's kind of like into the blend of that, not necessarily being super disciplined around it, but you kind of do need it. What we do, what I do in the fitness world is it kind of makes or breaks people in this industry. Yeah. And to be dedicated in this way and to see the bigger picture, it all goes back to gymnastics. Why does everything go back to gymnastics for me?
It's amazing.
But it's just, we want to make it. I want to be in this industry. I want to do really well and I want to impact as many people as I can. And I know social media is that tool and I don't let the negativity of, oh, I don't want to post. Oh, I do have to post, that kind of like have to, that grip on it. It's more of, the creativity side of it. I actually did take a break from social media in the summer. I took about
That's
a 3-month break, a little bit. I was on Substack, which is the
nice.
Substack is the new Tumblr. Hello, it's the best.
Yeah.
And I had, it was wonderful. And during that break, I became very clear that no, I meant to show up online.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do it. I want to really commit to this industry. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And there is no time off in this industry. There is no sick days. There's no maternity leave. There's nothing like that. So if I want to set myself up for success later down and have a really promising future for a family one day, this is the stuff I have to do, and I'm ready for it.
That's awesome. I love that perspective on it, because I feel like there's, so many people nowadays, you see, oh, I didn't immediately blow up after 3 months of doing this. And it's like, you've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like
that's long. Oh my God.
Yeah. It like, once you start kind of like putting it in perspective like that, it's like, oh my gosh, like this takes a lot of work, a lot of consistency to show up every day, to know exactly what to do. And, but you just said something, and I kind of want to like follow up on that. Gymnastics. When did you do gymnastics before you coached it, or?
Yeah. So I was a competitive gymnast from 4 until 12.
Oh my goodness. What's like the biggest takeaway that you feel like you got from that time? Because I always feel like there's something that happens, like, everyone calls it like that canon event that happens in everyone's life, right around like 5 to 10. And I think like when you put someone in something as regimented as gymnastics from that like super early age, you get this like natural base level of discipline that kind of happens.
It was just unbelievable discipline.
Yeah.
I loved it. I eat, breathe, sleep gymnastics. It was my passion. I loved it. Both of my parents were not very athletic. My mom had no idea when she signed me up for something at a recreational level that I would take it so far. And I just loved it. So really from an early age, just learning discipline, learning how to overcome fears, gaining a lot of confidence on skills, being scared to go to practice sometimes, but still going. The time commitment, really trusting the process, trusting in coaches, learning how to be coachable, being guided through something, working hard to see a bigger picture. It really was everything at the age of 5.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so then how old were you when you started coaching?
I was 19 when I started coaching.
Wow. That is an incredible responsibility to put on a 19-year-old.
Listen, that has all to do with Kitty Crumb. Thank you for trusting in me. That was it. Yeah. But it really does. It's funny how things, I know other gymnasts or other people who did club sports, and it's all very similar. We all have the similar just kind of intensity. It's neither good nor bad.
Yeah.
Probably could have been a little less intense at times, but I really do accredit a lot of my success and just who I am to growing up that way.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's been a fascinating thing. Like I always joke, like one of the like random threads that has kind of shown up throughout this podcast that I've done is like that undeniable, like extra hard work, like extra purpose, extra motivation. And it's interesting to see as like time goes on, there's kind of this like, undeniable amount of evidence that's showing up that everyone that has that level of excellence in whatever it is that they're doing, they just either worked 100 times harder than everyone else around them, or they, learned how to, going on YouTube and learning how to, coach and do all the moves, or, for me, spending hours upon hours learning how to light and run cameras and doing all this stuff. And that is like the thing that can always like set people apart.
Oh yeah.
And I think like one of the things I'm kind of curious, like what is like a way that you're able to find, being able to kind of like motivate people to find that extra level of discipline, or like kind of like one of my friends that I like did some work with years ago, I always joked because he was a massage therapist, and he always had a way where it's like, for me, I had a lot of flexibility and mobility.
It's James.
Yes, James. James.
Shout out James.
Yeah, shout out James.
Of course.
He had this magical ability that whenever I would go in for a session, I would be dealing with something. I had a hip mobility, whatever. and he would walk me through a few exercises, and he could show me what that end result was going to be like. And he's like, okay, now here's the list of exercises I need you to do. And then if you go do them, you will eventually feel this. Obviously, the next day you wake up, you're back to normal, and you got to like go through that process. And I always like wish in every single facet of life, there was a way to be able to kind of show people what that end result could look like. Because that for me was like the biggest motivation of like, okay, now I got to stick with these movements. And I have people now that are, you know, I get those same assignments, and it's like, okay, go do this thing. And I'll start doing that movement set, and then I'll try and go find a way to like speed through it, because that's just how my brain works.
I feel like it's clear guidance. I feel like keeping people motivated or more consistent, that's really the word I should use. Clear guidance, being seen, being really dedicated to your craft and what you do, and being open to hearing members. What do they need? What did you need during that time? And you were listened to, you know, you were heard, and you were given guidance. And really because I know James too, and I've worked with him, and he's absolutely incredible. It's just, there's so much trust that you have in that person. It's almost like you can feel their soul in it. And for me, that's all I can do. All I can do is guide, establish trust, and really in the fitness industry, not selling this quick fix. It's a long game. And I'm not going to ever lie to anyone and tell them that they're going to have XYZ in 6 months. You need to commit for years, minimum. Hopefully for their life. I would be a really bad trainer if I had clients for life. I would love it. I want everyone to work out with me forever, but I'd be terrible. You got to go. Like, you have to do it for the rest of your life. And really, like with your experience, it was, you were given the tools, you had the plan, and you knew that if you did it and you were taught how to do it, you would have it then and feel great.
Exactly. I feel like it's one of those, it's like the paradox of like wanting to be able to like train someone is like, you want them to be able to build that into their own level of discipline, that they can just show up for themselves. But I think one of the things, and I remember talking about this with James a while ago, you know, kind of trying to figure out like, what is the business model that we do here? And a big part of it for me, seeing kind of like from the fitness side of things, is it comes down to accountability. And I think like that's the one thing, like as much as you want someone to be able to kind of learn that level of discipline and then be able to kind of go out on their own and fly by themselves. And I think just from the stuff I see you posting, it seems like you've done a really good job of instilling that into people and then being able to go out on their own and do stuff. But I think for a lot of people, that level of motivation might not necessarily be there. And as a trainer, you have to be okay with like, these people, sometimes they just need someone to be there to show up, be their friend, and like, you know, help them through it. Which I think is like still kind of a cool thing, because it means that you've got that like rock solid community that's ready to be able to, you know, help people through that. My members are incredible at working out. I've had some members close to 3 years, and they could teach the class by now. And awesome. I need accountability as well in fitness and everything. I will not do a yoga practice at home. I will not always cook the healthiest meals. It's having that team that supports you, and it gives you the human experience as well. In-person training is always going to be my favorite, but I love online. It's really cool to be, it's 2026. There are online communities that you can have. And if you need a message to hold you accountable, and there's pros and cons with both. In person, you have to be here. It is a little bit more financially, it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit pricier, but online gives a great option too. So that is really what it comes down to. That's awesome. One of the things I've loved with seeing kind of the birth of more like online offerings for people is you're able to kind of like build your community. So like beyond just like the local, you can have kind of a global community. What is like the furthest away that you've like connected with people that like regularly show up in your online classes?
Online for me has always been, and this is just raw and honest, I've had a really hard time with it. I once started online training about 5 years ago, and it was a little bit more one-on-one, and I was having a really hard time getting people to do their workouts. And maybe that was just me being a beginner coach. So eventually, and it's a little bit higher ticket price, and I always would go in and out of online training. But as of the last 6 months, I have really locked in, and I just love what I offer. So I actually offer exactly what my in-person members do. It's the same thing online.
That's awesome.
So it allows me to know exactly what they're doing. So what was the question with that?
Initially, what was like the furthest that you've been able to connect with people in that?
So with online, it is a little bit newer. 6 months, that's, developing still. So right now, the farthest person I have is like 45 minutes out of the city, but I love it.
Yeah.
And with more word of mouth, I'm sure I'll get some more people. I've trained people from my hometown, which is about 2 hours away. I did have a member a long time ago that was out in California. So I was like, that was a cool mix. And you never know how people will find you.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe there'll be a moment where I train someone out of the country, or I think that when people see my videos and they connect with me, if they hear my voice and hear how I teach, it's the exact same thing that people get online. It's a little bit time consuming because you have to watch the video, which I always recommend. Watch the videos before the workout and then you can go in, but you really get the same experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have always kind of been fascinated with the whole online versus in person. And, for me, like I remember I did one yoga class at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, and I was like, this is just, it's not for me personally.
Yeah.
But I know that there are people out there who like thrive in those environments.
Yeah.
And so like being able to like meet people where they're at with that type of thing is just always something I love.
It's where you're at too. Yeah. I don't have any kids. I have the luxury, I've got a dog, but I've got the luxury of going to the gym.
Yes.
Maybe someone who's a busy mom, they have to really organize their schedule more, and making it to a class might work some days, it might not work some other days. So having that option to still show up on their own, but still be guided, still feel like they're a part of something is really nice. It's really incredible that from COVID, because that's really how all of this came about. I'm sure it would have happened one way or another, but everyone has an online platform, which I think is amazing because everybody needs to exercise. Everybody needs to exercise. There's never enough. Sometimes people always say like, isn't the fitness industry too saturated? I will never say yes, and it's not. We always need more. We always need more people showing up, posting what they do with workouts or anything. There's never enough with it.
Yeah, I feel like we're living through this kind of crazy like network effect with things. Like conversation I had early last year, kind of talking about like bodybuilding forums and like those types of things. Like that was, the early days of the internet, and everything was very underground. And it was like, you kind of only like knew people if you, knew the code word to get into the club. But now it's like so many people, it's just the information is free and abundant and everywhere. And like people can like have those conversations on a regular basis of, oh, I tried, these supplements and this worked, this didn't work, this helped me. And, then like, doctors are able to chime in and go, oh, the reason that worked is because of these 4 things. And I just think like that ability for like constant like transparent communication is really incredible. And I think like if we can get past there are people that will take advantage of people who don't know any better online, and be able to move into like, besides that, there's so much better opportunity for people. I think that like it helps motivate people to be able to actually hit their goals that they're looking for.
Oh yeah, that's a really good way to look at it too.
Awesome. I'm trying to think. I had another question, and then my brain just like went off.
I know, something
in another direction. Mobility.
Ooh. Okay.
I want to touch on this because I think like, so I guess kind of like to kind of break down like fitness just in general. There's like strength training, cardio, mobility.
Yeah.
I think like one of the things I'm starting to see a lot more, and as someone like in my own personal life, when I was a kid, I was doing a lot of like track cross country, to marathons, endurance racing, that sort of thing. And I love that like cardio feeling. It's only in the past like 3 to 4 years that I've really started to kind of completely flip and focus on strength training. But one of the things that I'm now kind of like hitting is I need to figure out mobility in this.
Yeah.
And I kind of, so from your perspective as someone who's like, as we're coming into the new year, someone's thinking about looking into a workout plan, what would that split of like strength training, cardio, mobility look like to you?
I think that mobility is so important. You want to be strong, so you got to be able to move within the range of motion as well. I believe every single movement, no matter what you do, you need to have time to warm up properly, something that increases your body temperature. That could just look like warming up on the bike, warming up on a treadmill, and then doing specific movements and stretches that match whatever exercises you're going to do during the workout. Having something, doing some sort of mobility every day is phenomenal. It's kind of fun because I come from the gymnastics background, and gymnastics was a little bit more flexibility, as in like holding stretches, trying to get to splits and really good back bends and things like that. But now training adults, it's quite different. There are tons of different mobility drills and exercises you can do, but you have to do it. No one wants to. And I think that everyone has to know that it is the work. Usually people, and I'm in the category, I am guilty myself. I do run club, I do things like that where we never warm up because it's looked, as a person that has done a lot of cardio, it's a waste of time, right?
Exactly. No, it's funny. I think about it as a kid. We would always like laugh during like stretches and warm-ups and things. And then now, like as an adult, the irony of this entire context is I totally blew my back out the other day trying to do a workout, and I walked upstairs and I was like, told my wife, I'm like, well, I guess I didn't warm up as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, you
and
have
now
to warm
it's like
up. Yeah.
you have to like know to be able to do that before you can like just jump into a workout.
It is the work.
I'm not 12 anymore.
I know. It definitely like changes as we get older. You notice how your exercises might not feel as great if you don't have a proper warm up to them. It is the work. It's so important to do. And it doesn't have to be long. 8 to 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes long of doing something, and having mobility or having some sort of movement prep lets you know how your body's actually feeling. Exactly. Sometimes if you're working out really early, you'll come in and just go right into something. And how are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? Do you feel energized today? Are you really sore? So if you have a mobility routine that you can do certain exercises and repeat them, that's the thing too. I feel like with social media and online, there's so many exercises and stretches. Boring is better. Have a couple that you really like to do, stick with them. Commit to them, do them for real, breathe in them, and you'll notice that, oh, today I thought I was feeling really good, but you know what? Whew, my back. Maybe there was a sign before you lifted that. The back was feeling a certain way. Or I always like to say, maybe you came in and you weren't feeling that energized, but after your movement prep, you're like, oh, actually, this is going to be a really good workout.
Yes. Yeah, I think about that a lot. I had a point on that. Yeah, that's one of the things I like have kind of noticed. I'm like trying to kind of implement that a little bit better, but again, obviously, like still have those issues with it.
Yeah.
No, I remember what it was.
Yes.
You said boring is better.
Boring.
My wife hates this. I am like the type of person, I literally lived on oatmeal, and like I live on like oatmeal and eggs.
Yeah.
And I will do the most boring shit of all time, because I know that it'll be the thing that works. Yeah. And I think one of the things that is fascinating, and I like don't know if this will be a perfect segue into it, but I'm curious. I know you just launched a new program based.
Yeah.
I'm curious like how that kind of ties in with that, and like kind of getting back to the basics of like working out.
Everything, if you are dedicated to your craft, you could choose any category, but I'll just use fitness. It is unbelievably simple. Fitness is unbelievably simple in terms of what you do, when to do it, and the results from it. But it's not easy at all. And getting really good at doing something, and we'll just use a squat, for example. I am the person that I think, you know, if your body is able, everyone should squat. It is going to be something that you got to be able to do for the rest of your life. You got to sit down, you got to stand back up. But doing a really, really good squat with load is so challenging to do. The movement is simple, and you do it over and over and over. So that's the boring is better. But actually going in for form, going in for bracing, aligning your body in the right way is challenging to do. The more you do it, the harder it even gets, just because you have more understanding of it. Boring is so much better when it comes to exercise. And now that we live in a time where there's a lot of entertaining workouts, I always call them, a lot of like red light and on the mic and the music, which is really fun. Yeah. I don't want to knock any fitness. I do want to make that clear. I just want people to exercise.
Yes.
But when it comes to specifically if people want to get stronger, which is usually, I think, what everyone wants. I know women always say they want to look toned, but you got to have muscle. Yes. If you want to look toned, you have to have some strength to you. And I think a performance goal will help someone stay very consistent with exercise, not so much aesthetic. If you have performance, a certain exercise you want to execute, a certain weight you want to move, having that goal, the strength goal, will be really fun to do. So that is the number one thing. So kind of like back to the entertaining exercises. I always see a lot of people doing maybe a lot of fitness classes, always changing up the movements that they're doing, a lot of low impact movements. They're moving their bodies, but they're never giving themselves a chance to get better at a certain exercise, get better at a certain move. Yeah. So that's where the boring is better comes in. I'm like unbelievably confident, and it took me a long time to be in this space to say this, but if you have a strength training program, a structured program, and you follow it and repeat it over and over and over, but still have progressive overload trying to make it harder somehow, you will have every single result that you want from exercise, from having a structured program. It doesn't even have to be every day of the week. You can still do the fun classes, but swap 2 or 3 of them to have a structured lifting program. Everything will be better. You'll age better, everything.
Yeah, it's a game changer. I remember it was, probably like 3 or 4 years ago. I started just simply buying heavier kettlebells. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, I can do deadlifts with these super easy. And the crazy thing is, like, I remember when I got my first 70-pound kettlebell, and I picked it up from Rogue right up the street and literally was like struggling to get it out of the trunk of my car.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I now have a couple 105-pound kettlebells that I'm doing deadlifts with.
That is incredible.
And it's like, but that, like, to your point on it, if you just stick with that program, in a very short amount of time, you can go from, oh, I like am struggling to pick up this 70-pound kettlebell to like, that's part of your warm up.
Yeah.
And like, that blows my mind. And anyone that will listen, I'm constantly just like, and here's my like, this is the thing I always love to like kind of like get people excited on is like, people look at, oh, it's nice to have like a whole weight set at home. I was like, listen, I started out, I bought one 30-pound kettlebell. And then when that got too easy for me to move around, then I bought like the next size up. And then you just like slowly over time. But the kicker is like all of that discipline that comes with the workout gets applied into other aspects of like career growth, mental health, like all of those other things to where you get to a place where by the time you go to like finalize your set, you're in a way different place in life to where it's like, it costs you less compared to how much you might be making or all those other things, which I think is just like really cool.
It's so cool. I love, because we do progressive overload training. Everyone who strength trains does progressive overload. If maybe that's not what you know what you're doing, but it's just making it harder some way, somehow.
Exactly.
You can make something harder if you have one kettlebell or full gym. You can make things harder by adding more reps. You can make it harder, obviously, by making it heavier. But I'm a huge fan of making things harder with tempo. Can you slow it down? Can you work on your range of motion? And going back to the boring is better, every time you repeat a workout, it doesn't have to be this massive growth, this massive weight added onto it or reps added. It really is like, what is the smallest difference you can make each and every week? That's really good advice for someone going into strength training, kind of like going into base foundation. It's a simple foundational strength training program that just builds you from dumbbell exercises to barbell exercises. And under every exercise, I say, slow down. Please slow down. Slow down. Because if you have to move slow, it's very obvious if what you're doing is appropriate or not.
Yeah.
And you want to give yourself a foundation to start. If you start doing we'll use like a dumbbell chest press, a dumbbell bench press. If you start something a little too heavy and you're flying through your reps, it's going to be really hard as that's where you're starting off. How can we make that better? If that was maybe too heavy, the form wasn't that great. So when you slow down and you commit to doing your exercises, that's when you'll see everything. And then it kind of brings you back to the mobility piece, because I believe in full range of motion when training. I want your squat to go all the way down. I want you to feel your chest stretch on a bench press. I want your hamstrings really lengthened on Romanian deadlifts. Those are just a couple examples. But when you slow down and you focus on how much can I move through the range, you'll see not only your mobility enhanced, but also your strength enhanced too.
That's awesome. I feel like that would be like a really incredible piece of merch, like on a hoodie, like, you know, those like stick figures for like slow down driving through the neighborhood.
Please slow
like,
down.
Please slow down your
I had
reps.
like my board last week said, slow the F down, please. That's like, maybe that will be my new series. Yeah, if people just would strength train a little bit slower, it just really connects you to your body. And maybe I could squat, you know, something heavy, but then you tell me to slow it down a little bit. Woo, I don't have as much weight on the bar as I thought I could.
Exactly.
And something that's really fun too is all of my members, I teach them to work within an RPE. I don't know if you've heard, like, rate of perceived exertion.
No.
It's a gym bro. Yeah, it's our gym bro. But basically, if you have, and this will cycle in just depending on what workout or what cycle of training we're in or what phase we're in, but we'll have an RPE. So this is a scale from 1 to 10. 1 is super easy. 10 is too hard, max out. And your RPE wants to be, it will be like written in the program. So right now we're rebuilding the strength for the year. It's cycle 1. We are starting again, and we're kind of at an RPE of 6 to 7.
Okay.
So you probably have 3, maybe 4 reps left in you on exercises.
Okay.
So it's a really cool thing to work within, and especially for maybe you're not feeling that great. Maybe it's a woman and she's at a certain place in her cycle when she's exercising, and you don't want to work out. Oh, I'm not feeling that good. I'm just going to skip. But if you have this RPE that you're trying to work within, you can still show up. So now you're consistent, but I don't feel that great. Maybe my RPE of 6 to 7 or 7 to 8, whatever I'm working within, is a little bit lower, but it still feels like that intensity. So there's like so many cool ways that you can apply strength training to everything that you do and really stay consistent with it, because there's these wonderful frameworks to work with it in. Boring is better. Find your RPE, slow the F down, move in full range of motion.
I love that, because like it gives you a lot more flexibility when it comes to like building out your program. Because like kind of as I'm hearing you talk about that, it's like, you know, if normally you're working with, you know, for the sake of argument, you're working with like 50 pounds is your, you know, weight that you're working with. If you're not feeling good on a day, you can come in, you might drop that down to like 20 or 30 pounds and like you can still have that perceived rate of exertion. But like you're not actually still working at that same exertion level that might, you know, make you more sick or have other downstream negative effects. That's really cool.
It's what we do with life every day. With work, with family life, with just showing up. We give ourselves an RPE every day. It's just like how challenging are we making things? And when you feel really good, you show up a little bit better, but you still show up. And that's a cool thing to apply to the gym too.
That's really incredible. Getting life lessons and gym lessons. This is great. Awesome. Well, I feel like we covered quite a wide range of topics today. I really enjoyed this conversation. For anyone that wants to find you online, where can they find you?
Oh yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Kara Shaffer Moves. I'm also on TikTok, Kara Shaffer Moves. I've got a website, karashaffermoves.com. But yeah, I love when people reach out to me. I'm always an open book, happy to give any recommendations. My DM is always open. And if you ever have form you want me to break down, or if you just want to chit chat, ask me a question about a workout split, always happy to answer.
Awesome. Well, that was incredible.
Thanks
for coming on.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.